Tax season's here, but I think we're going to have some big problems, like big problems. So I got 5 simple things that'll help ease some of those problems. So come on with me to the other side so I can break them down for you. Welcome to the Finance Roll Show. I'm Kamari Ellis, your host. I'm a tax accountant, recovering financial advisor, and former portfolio manager. In this show, we talk about all things money, taxes, stocks, wealth, business, economics. If it's about money and it's about the Black community, we talk about it. So today, I wanted to lay out a couple of things regarding this coming year's tax season. It's about to start. The IRS announced the dates. We are opening up for tax season on January 24th and closing down tax season April 18th. So it's all supposed to go down in those 3-month time frame, roughly. But it looks like we're going to have some problems, like some major problems. So I want to break it all down to you real quick. Now, we've covered the easy part. Tax season starts April 24th. That's when they're going to start submitting e-files or start accepting e-files, right? It shuts down April 18th. Quick note, if you can't get your taxes done in enough time by April 18th, file an extension. File an extension. Form number 4868 off the top of my head. Now that's the easy part. Here's the tricky part. The last 3 tax seasons have been very challenging. The IRS is understaffed, the IRS is under budget, and COVID has totally ravaged the Internal Revenue Service. So recently, Chuck Reddick, the commissioner of the IRS, the man who runs the Internal Revenue Service, released this statement. And I want to get it right, so I'm going to read it from the good old trusty phone. All right. So Chuck Reddick said, "We are unable to deliver the amount of service and enforcement that our taxpayers and tax system deserves and needs." What does that sound like to you? Doesn't sound like paradise to me. Sounds like there's trouble in paradise. For the commissioner of the IRS to say something like that, that says a lot. Now, why did he say it? Why did he say those things? So, at the end, so let me back up. So, May 2021, that's when the IRS had last season's tax deadline. Guess how many unprocessed tax returns they had at that time? It's about 35 million. 35,000,000. It's a lot of unprocessed tax returns, right? That's about 3 times the amount that they had in previous tax seasons, in the 2020 and the 2019 tax seasons. Totally crazy, all right? And so I also want to read to you a couple of things from the Tax Advocate Services annual report that they just had, okay? I'm going to read this from my trusty phone too, because I don't want to mess it up. I want to get it right. All right, so in the annual report to Congress, the Taxpayer Advocate Service stated the call volumes almost tripled, all right, from the prior year to a record 282 million telephone calls. All right, customer service representatives, often called CSRs, only answered those calls about 32 million. So stick with me. There was 282 million calls. Only 32 million of those calls were answered, right? That's roughly 11%. As a result, most callers could not obtain answers to their tax law questions, get help with account problems, or speak with a CSR about a compliance issue. Compliance issue just means tax issue, all right? Among the lucky 1 in 9 callers were able to reach a CSR. The IRS reported that hold times averaged 23 minutes. Not for me, they're usually higher. And I'm a tax pro, I got a special line. And practitioners and taxpayers have reported that hold times were often much longer. See? And frustration and dissatisfaction was high throughout the year with the low level of phone service. All right, I think y'all get the point. We are totally It's going to be rough, y'all. It's going to be rough. Now, in this clip right here, I want to talk about Aaron Collins. Aaron Collins is the chief of the Taxpayer Advocate Service. What is the Taxpayer Advocate Service? Taxpayer Advocate Service is the watchdog of the IRS. While they sit inside of the IRS, they're totally independent of the IRS, and they're there to report to Congress. Now, remember, I always tell y'all, Congress is the IRS's daddy. All right, Congress enacts the laws that the IRS has to follow. So keep that in mind. But in this report, well, actually, it's not a report. In this interview that Erin was in, she talked about the amount of money that's allocated to the IRS and what they use it for. So check this out real quick.
So the challenge, though, is the IRS, some of their technology is outdated, and their staffing has been reduced over the last decade by about 20%. So if your staffing has reduced, your budget's been reduced, we're putting a pretty high pressure on the IRS. They've been doing a remarkable job, but the concern that I have in representing taxpayers is at what cost? Because you got to prioritize and something's got to give. And the challenge is what we're seeing is a lot of the individuals that are responsible for processing the tax returns, answering the telephones, working with taxpayers, they are stretched very thin. And as a result, taxpayer service is suffering. For example, the phone lines. Last year was very difficult, and unfortunately this year is not much better. Congress typically funds the IRS to be responsive 6 out of 10 calls in essence. Personally, I don't think that's sufficient. I like to see the IRS funded to answer 100% of the calls. But this past year and the current cycle, we're seeing there are days that it's less than 10% that those phone calls are being able to be answered. And that's due to an increased high volume of calls coming in. And again, the challenge of having remote workers who are the ones responsible for answering those calls. So it's been a very difficult season last year, and this year we're struggling as well.
All right, so basically that shows again that we're totally all right, so it's going to be rough. All right, but here are a couple things that I want everybody to do. Keep in mind as we get into the 2020 tax season. All right, so number one on the list, I need you all to gather all your documents, all your tax documents. Okay, now remember, employers have till January 31st to issue W-2s. If you are an independent contractor, companies have until January 31st to issue 1099s. If you have K-1s or you're in some kind of partnership, they usually have until, I want to say, March 15th, off the top of my head, to issue K-1s and other partnership/S Corp returns. So be patient, but be on top of it. I would start following up with people right now to make sure that they have your paperwork in order. Now, a lot of these things typically are online. So if you don't have them now, they should be coming in within the next couple days, maybe a week or so. All right, so stay on top of that. The second thing I want you to do is open an IRS online account. Now, why do I want you to do that? I want you to open an IRS online account because you can get access to see what's going on inside your account. There's a lot of things that are going to be very, very tricky this tax season. The advanced child care tax credit is one of them. If you got any stimulus last year, that could be a problem as well. So Congress sent out millions of letters last year because there were a lot of errors on tax returns as it relates to stimulus payments or economic impact payments, right? And so when those numbers are reported on your tax return, they don't fall into lock sync. They don't jive with the IRS records. The IRS then gets to reconcile, change, lower your refund, increase your refund based on what the numbers were. And so a lot of those letters reflected that. Now, again, the IRS just did this, and some are right and some are wrong. That's why I'm telling you all to open up your online account. So when it's time to do your taxes, you can go into your account and you can pull all the information. If you got the advanced child care tax credit, if you got stimulus payments last year, and you can have it and you can put it directly on your tax return. Then that way you can hopefully avoid any recalculations by the IRS, right? And if that does happen, because they do make mistakes, they make mistakes often, you have the records to substantiate, right, to back up your claims on your tax return. So, all right, so make sure you go through and open up an online account. Sometimes you can open up that account typically when you have what they call public information, a mortgage, credit card, or any of that, so they can verify you. All right. If you can't use that, use the ID Me service that they're using. But make sure you get it done. Now, file early. File early as possible. File early. Don't wait. The reason why I'm saying it's late, as Chuck Reddick said, Chucky told us, the IRS he don't got no faith. So you know everything's going to be delayed. We had over 6 million, almost 8 million returns. We had almost 8 million returns at the end of 2021 as the new year turned. Still unprocessed. So if they still have 8 million still unprocessed, they're starting the year behind. So they got 8 million from previous years that they're working on. They're going to have several more millions unprocessed as we go into this tax season. So start early, start early, start early. Do not procrastinate. Get your papers together. Do them yourself. Go see your tax pro. Make it happen. All right? All right? Next thing on the list, file electronically. The days of mailing things to the IRS are over. Their backlog of mail, their unprocessed mail, is still in the millions. Don't play that game. You will hurt your feelings, your own feelings. And that's a sad sight. So go ahead and do it. And for the record, if you make less than $73,000 this year, you can always participate in what's called Vita, right? The IRS helps to sponsor these programs. It's called Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, where you can get your taxes done for free. And you could also do the online free file tax service that the IRS also helps you as well. And I'll put a link in the bio for both of those. And by the way, there's usually a Vita site in a city. So I'm right outside of Philadelphia. There are several Vita sites in Philadelphia where they give tax assistance to tax assistance to low and moderately low income people. So this year, the Vita sites are helping people, again, $73,000 or less. You can find one in your city. You can get your taxes done for free. And they're very qualified people. I've actually worked with Vita. I have some friends that work with Vita and teach Vita, and they do an outstanding job. So again, if your returns aren't that complicated and you don't have a whole lot of money to hire a tax pro, Vita is a good way, and or the whole free income tax service that the IRS provides, where there's different softwares you can use. Now be careful with some of them. Some of them will dupe you in and start charging you some fees. So be careful with them. But for the most part, it's still going to be cheaper doing that than it would be to hire someone like myself. Last point. Patience is key, y'all. Be patient. All right, because again, like I said, the IRS is understaffed. The IRS is under budget. This has been going on for many, many years. COVID came through and then wrecked shop for COVID for the last 2 years, going on 3 years now. The IRS doesn't have the best technology. So again, they are not up to par. Matter of fact, Aaron Collins, the head of the Taxpayer Advocate Service, said that paper is the kryptonite for the IRS service. They're drowning in paper because they don't have the most up-to-date system. So with all that said, please file electronically. Gather up all your documents. Do it quickly. Do it expeditiously. Open up your IRS account, your online account. Make sure you file electronically. And at the end of the day, be patient. Be patient. So here's a quick question. Are you up to date on your tax filings? Drop a comment for me below. Okay, if you like this video, got value from this video, enjoyed this video, do me a favor. Like, comment, and share, right? Like it, hit the like button. Also, share it out with somebody. And do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. Trying to get my numbers up, folks. Trying to help as many people as possible. So, again, I'll see you next time. I'm Kamari Ellis. Y'all be great.